Hello, I am Chris Patterson, and today I'll be walking you through the mini project presentation for Math 810 Statistics. So I kick off the presentation with an overview of the problem with the background information. Essentially, as the Regional Marketing Vice President, I am being tasked with addressing budget concerns. This is particularly of interest to me because in my professional capacity, outside of academia, I'm also marketing. I've been in marketing for 20 plus years. These are the situations that are classic case studies that come up all the time. Are we allocating the correct dollar amount for marketing? What's that return on investment? In this particular issue for this problem, the budget that marketing has should be leading to a 10% annual growth for the company's leading product. However, the CFO, who is leading the senior budgeting committee, doesn't believe that the funds allocated toward marketing are going to produce that revenue growth, and they also feel that their competitor in the space is already at such a huge margin of ownership of that market that no matter what we spend, we're always going to be behind the eight ball. So the crux of the issue involves analyzing the data, looking at the spend, looking at the ROI from year to date, really understanding how that marketing dollar stretches, what it's delivered. The task is to discern any connections between advertising spend and revenue growth, and to subsequently craft an argument that effectively communicates these findings. The argument must answer the questions that are listed in the problem to essentially defend the initial proposed budget or develop and submit a revised budget. So essentially the case study is a real world example of what a marketing VP, a marketing director would have to do on a yearly basis as it pertains to justifying budget allocation and what that budget allocation is going to return in terms of the investment. The explanation of the data being used for this analysis for this particular project is both quantitative and continuous. It's covering revenue and marketing advertising spend for both brands. It should be noted the data presumably represents a sufficient and random sample of the company's operations over an extended period. The statistical methods used. The main statistical method employed for the analysis for this paper was linear regression, including both univariate and multivariate regressions. The R-squared value was calculated to understand the proportion of revenue variation that could be explained by the marketing advertising spend. P-values were also considered to establish the significance of the relationship. Descriptive statistics were utilized to summarize and provide insights into the data. Data was visualized using scatter plots, providing a visual representation of the correlation between the variables. I didn't include those images within this deck. However, this paper submission had those scatter plots as well. Test validation and justification. So linear regression was chosen because it's a standard tool for understanding the relationship between two or more variables, one being dependent and the other being independent. This model operates under certain assumptions, including linearity, which is the relationship between independent and dependent variables is linear. Independence, the residuals are independent, no correlation between consecutive residuals. Homoscedasticity, the residuals have constant variance. Normality, the residuals are normally distributed. In my day-to-day activities as a marketer, I mainly use linear regression because, again, it is a standard tool for understanding the relationship between two or more variables. So this is something that I would use more specifically just recently at work as it related to product categorization based upon revenue generation dependent on marketing spend. The R-squared and p-values were also calculated to assess the fit of the model and the statistical significance of the relationships, respectively. In essence, this allowed to quantify the strength and significance of the relationship between the revenue and the advertising and marketing spend. Interpretation of the test results. The regression analysis showed that for DelioMax, advertising marketing spend explained approximately 80.95% of the variation in revenue, indicating a strong relationship. For Zoraflex, the relationship was weaker with only 27.52% of revenue variation explained by advertising and marketing spend. The p-values also suggested that these relationships were statistically significant. A multivariate regression analysis involving DelioMax's revenue and multiple independent variables showed a significant relationship only with DelioMax's advertising and marketing spend, while no significant relationship was found with Zoraflex revenue or Zoraflex advertising marketing spend. The key takeaway, i.e. the key interpretation of the test results, the calculations predicting the loss of revenue should both brands cease all advertising and marketing spend suggested significant financial impact, particularly for DelioMax. This marketer's conclusions and recommendations. The analysis indicates that both brands' revenues are significantly influenced by their advertising and marketing spend, but more specifically for DelioMax. If the brands were to halt all marketing and advertising activities, the companies would likely see a major drop in revenue. The proposed $11 million cut in the budget for DelioMax could result in approximately $197 million in lost revenue. Therefore, it is recommended to reconsider this proposal, taking into account the potential negative impact on revenue. It could be more beneficial to evaluate other areas of the budget for potential savings, or to devise more efficient marketing strategies that could deliver similar results with less spending. These are the sources that were used to get the full detail for this particular project. If you have any questions, please ping me, put them in the discussion, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.